Alicia on Demand. I'm Alicia. Welcome back to my channel. If you're returning, I hope that means you've subscribed. If you are new, welcome. You are always at home with me. If you've seen my previous video kicking off the new year, then you know that I declared 2021 for me the year of joy and minimalism. I'm really focused on finding joy after a tough several years of depression and sadness and just obstacles and challenges. I really would like to find joy in my life and spread that joy to others and help them find the joy in their lives as well. In addition, I've started to evaluate some of the things that are weighing me down, spiritually, financially, emotionally, and just physically weighing me down and pressing in on my life. As I've started going down this journey, I followed through with the documentary Less Is Now, and I started cutting some of the physical things in my home, and I've been donating them, listing them for sale, throwing things away, giving them to friends and family, and just really trying to streamline the things that I have surrounding me. On that journey, I started reflecting back to a news story that I saw a couple of years ago when there was a raging wildfire out in the California area. A woman came on and she lived in a very opulent home, and she said that she was given less than half an hour to gather up the things that were important to her and leave the house. And they showed her just piling things in this SUV like it was just jam-packed full of stuff, and she barely escaped to safety. After watching that show, I started thinking, what are the things that are important to me? If I had about a half an hour to pack up my house and to exit, what would I absolutely not want to leave behind? I started to surprise myself. Initially, I thought I would be shoving all kinds of clothes and electronics and photo. I had so many things in my mind buzzing about that I thought would be important for me to save. I thought they held some kind of sentimental value or financial value, and I would rush to get those things in the car. As I started looking at those things and truly thinking about them as I walked around my house at the beginning of this year, I started realizing that a lot fewer things than I initially would have thought would make that list. That I think I would rather escape with my peace of mind than anything else, and almost anything left behind would just be left behind. In today's age, photos and so many things are able to be reproduced, that those things are not as important as I initially thought they might be. I also started to realize that some of the things that surrounded me on a day-to-day basis didn't necessarily bring any type of joy or happiness into my life, and I would be able to let them go, and in some instances, I already have. They made the list to list on Poshmark. I will link my Poshmark in the description box in case something that I am releasing is something that you'd like to catch. However, what the purpose of my video here today is to inspire you to start thinking about the things that you have around you and what is really important. And not only what is important, but why it's important. And I'd love to hear from you about those things. So please join me on my blog, on my Facebook, Instagram, or here in the comment section and tell me what's important to you. And today I would like to share with you one of the items that is important to me. It is one of the things I would save in a fire. This is it's a ring. It belonged to my grandmother. My grandmother has been gone since 1990. She was just one of the most special people in the world to me, and anything that belonged to her for the longest time would have been something I would have saved to cherish, and I would have wanted every little piece of her. And as I started thinking and realizing, I recognized that physical and material items are not our memories. They're not my memories. It's nice to have little trinkets and baubles of the people, but if for some reason they all disappeared, my grandmother lives forever in my heart, in my memories, and a little bit in the mirror, and which is very comforting. But I do still have a few cherished items that belong to her that I hope become family heirlooms. And one of the reasons that I'm making this video and that I'm making a concerted effort to tell my friends and family about these items is that so when it's my time to go and the things that I leave behind, I want them to be able to tell the story or to know the story of the artifacts, as you will, of my life. So I will insert a photo of the ring because I don't think that you're going to be able to see it. But this was my grandmother's wedding ring and wedding set. And it's important to me because, first of all, I developed my love of sparkly, shiny, glittery things from my grandmother. She liked all things shiny, as do I. And this ring, although it's probably one of the world's tiniest diamonds, maybe it's 1/10 of a carat. So for all of you size people, it's not about the size, and it's probably not financially worth a lot of money, but it's absolutely priceless to me. This ring was on my grandmother's finger for as long as I can remember, and I remember thinking that it was a privilege for me to be able to clean this ring and the rest of her jewelry because I love to make everything sparkle again. She would take this ring off when we mash up the meatloaf, and it was a prized possession for her because she felt like it was something special because it was a real diamond and real gold. I don't even think that, well, I know that the designer of this ring it's the Keepsake brand of jewelry, and I think that it might be one of the few long-term jewelers. I mean, I think that the Keepsake brand still exists today. I'm gonna have to look that up. Maybe I'll insert something with a little bit of history, but that's not an important thing. The important thing is just the memory of my grandmother and the fact that she loved this ring and she wore it faithfully. And I just remember trying it on as a child, and I can't model it for you now because my grandmother had freakishly tiny fingers compared to mine, so I can't try it on, and I'm not gonna get it sized. I've actually thought about getting the little diamond reset so it could be in something that I would keep with me. I don't know, I might do that. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've ever reset something or melted down the gold of a cherished item. Because right now it kind of just sits in the jewelry box and I look at it from time to time and remember and think of her, and it just brings back the memory of her. So many things do. Again, I would pack this up and it would be something that I would take with me, but recognizing that the memory of my grandmother is always with me, and it's not wrapped in this material item. It's just a tiny little trinket that is on the I want to keep this forever list. I'm sure there are things on your list that you just absolutely can't imagine parting with. In the same token, as I want to inspire you to tell the story of your trinkets and think about the things that you can release, my heart goes out and my thoughts are with people who have lost those trinkets. The stories of the wildfires, of recently, someone I know actually had a house fire and lost almost everything. And I think about the people from Hurricane Katrina that escaped barely with their lives, if at all. And the things that were family heirlooms or had history or stories to tell, I think about those people and how heartbreaking it must be to have lost those little trinkets and baubles that we collect along the way, the things that you feel connect you in some way to loved ones or memories or special events in your own life. I think as I embark on this journey to joy and minimizing the things in my life and finding out what's important, I really am learning to cherish the things that are important to me, whether that be people, those memories, the stories, the little trinkets and baubles that they left behind, or just, it's really about spending the time and figuring out what's important. It's really about scaling back and kind of eliminating some of the noise of what's not important. For me recently, that was taking a little bit of a step away from some of the things I was seeing on social media that was kind of influencing the lust for material items that were unnecessary. And I actually, we're like 8 days into my journey to minimize, and I actually had a few things in a shopping cart online, and I had to stop and ask myself, like, what am I doing? What is this bringing me? It wasn't going to bring me any kind of joy. I was just kind of sad, and I thought I would buy myself a little happy. And I recognize now that that does not exist. You cannot buy yourself a little happiness. I guess that's true when they say money can't buy happiness. I still kind of want to find out and do that experiment. So, if I should become rich somehow, I will let you know if it's the money that brought this happiness or just the peace of mind of being debt-free. So I think that might bring a little bit of happiness, but I absolutely, I've joked, but I absolutely know that happiness is not tied in material things. But I also know that we do have a connection to some trinkets. And in myself personally, I feel like that's okay. I think that we are all where we are along our journey in life, and we need to respect each other's values, the things that each other values. Again, I love to hear the stories of your life, of your life's journey, and sometimes through sharing, it can be a cathartic and experience for you. So please take the time to share with me, and I look forward to hearing from you. Again, I am Alicia on Demand, and please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload again in the future. Thank you for spending your time with me.